Hey guys, it's Dan, your host of Dan's Reviews, and today I'm back with my weekly review for this week's episode of The Plague. This is for The Plague Season 3, Episode 2, which is called Belong to Us. So, this week's episode of The Plague, what do we think? So, I really thought that this was a really cool episode. I think that in terms of how he was done, these really just awesome 11 minutes. I really, I kind of, with this episode, I really think that this episode, the one thing it did was develop Derek a lot. That's one thing. We really got to see a lot of him in this episode, and I'm happy because he is kind of a new character. So, I did like that quite a bit, to see a lot of him in this episode, of course, Anthony's son. However, this episode, pretty much the idea of this episode is seeing our characters, they have lost. They are losing. They just lose in this episode. They pretty much do. Because, you have John and you have Derek and you have everybody else. And, it's kind of funny because it's like, well, as soon as they run into this group, right away, they have to pay up to them. That's the idea. So, pretty cool. They're definitely a bunch of bullies, that's for sure. However, I kind of do like Diego a little bit. He's kind of cool. So, I do like him a little bit. I thought that was, I think he was a pretty cool, mini villain or anything like that. But it looks like he's the right hand man of this Victor leader, of course, that we did see in episode 1. And Undead78 did say that this episode takes place right before the time where Anthony gets back to camp, so that's the idea. So this takes place right after Anthony gets captured, and it's before he gets locked in the train car, I think is the idea. So, okay, so we start off the episode with John and Derek, who have to take Diego back, and he's like, man, I've been waiting a week to be in here, and it's like, what? You've been waiting a week? Apparently he has. He's been, circling around, and they've been waiting for the right moment to strike, so to speak. So he's like, yeah, I know you guys enough to know that one's Blake. You're John, you're Derek, and that old one is Anthony. So he knows. He really does. So I'm guessing he was the one that was scouting around when Victor was leading the group probably back at the community. So you have Derek who is talking to this Diego guy. They have a really cool connection in this episode that I thought just really made this episode cool, because you have them two, they're talking, you better not say another word, kid, and he's like, everybody give up your guns except for John. So I don't know about that, but anyway, so John is just not having it at all, and John is one of my favorite characters, and he's not having it at all. He's just like, man, these guys are just tons of bullies, So, but apparently, and that is one thing I do like about this episode, he knew who these guys were, because I think they're called the scrap people or something, the scrappers or something, and apparently there's 200 of them. 231 of them. So, wow. Okay, so that's a threat for sure. That's not too good. It's really not like any group we've seen before. 231 apparently, he says to Blake at the end of the episode. So, anyway, continuing on, so that's why he didn't drop his gun, apparently, because it looks like they might have known each other or something, So, he's like, kid, take me to the house or whatever, I want to see the weapons, So, he takes him to Anthony's house, and it's a pretty cool sequence where they go in there and he's like, where's your bedroom? He's like, no, I sleep on the couch, my dad has the only room. And he's like, man, air conditioning. Man, we don't have air conditioning. So just some cool sequences between the two. And I'm sure Anthony would not like this at all right now. He'd be like, hey, you get away from my son. So good thing he's not here to see this. But anyway, so he finds the guns. He's like, cooperation. I like that. So you can come back with us. My offer stands. You're going to come back with us. Okay? And he's like, will I get to see my dad? And he's like, you will never see him again. So, and he says that a lot throughout the episode. You guys are never going to see Anthony again. So, but I did see a sequence in the promo of this season, that the trailer of this season, where Anthony is right next to Derek inside Victor's community. So, or wherever he is. So that is interesting. So whenever that happens, if it's next episode or if it's episode 4, but it looks like they will see Anthony again. Obviously, I think that's an obvious one. You can't really go the whole series without them not seeing Anthony again. However, we're gonna have to see how this works out because I'm really excited for next week to see what's been going on with Anthony. And of course, now that we know, Scott is there as well with him. So are they going to try to escape together, or just what's going to happen? That's really interesting. So, but again, this is all taking place before that. So. Anyway, we've got all that stuff going on. You've got, Diego. So, he asks him, he's like, you want a drink, So, he's like, my dad says I'm not allowed to. And he's like, well, I say you're allowed to, So he's like, all right, let's do it. So 2 hours later, they're just, oh man, they're just done pretty much. And John's just like, what are you doing? And he's like, Diego, get out. What are you doing? You're doing this to him now? No, get out. So. He does leave, and of course, he takes the kid with him. So, he takes Derek with him. So he's like, will you teach me how to drive? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, I'm coming then. So, this is the one question for me, and I'm really curious. Is Derek actually wanting to abandon his group he's been with for 2 years, throughout the time skip? Does he really want to do that? Or does he have a trick and he's going there to try to see if he can get his father out or something? Because that's how I read it. But he might actually just be simply interested in going. I mean, I don't really know what's going on with that. Does he have a plan to try to get Anthony out? Like, is he going to try to get him out? Is that why he went? Or did he actually just want to go with Diego, and his group? Without seeing his father again, So that's really an interesting one. That's probably the best moment of this episode when he left to me, because I'm curious, what the heck, because it really, it could go one or two ways. He could try to go, maybe he's going over there to see if he can get his father out, which would be the ideal, or maybe actually he's going over there because he just wants to, learn how to drive and hang out with them. I don't know, so that's kind of interesting. I'm really curious myself to see, because it would be nice if you could try to get Anthony out of there or something like that. But I don't know, we're gonna have to see. But that's really interesting. So they're driving. Of course, you got Diego and Derek, and he's like, I'm just gonna take a nap until we get there because they say they're gonna get there at nighttime, so it's gonna be a bit. And then you have John, who says, I knew these guys. They have 231 people. And when I was in the military group, in the town, right, in the city, it didn't go too well. So that's the main thing. So then he says, of course, to everybody else, John says, we're not going to see Anthony again. We're going to have to put up with these guys. And we belong to them. So it looks like they're actually, they're accepting the fact that I guess they have to follow the rules. So, are they going to try to, strike back or something? Doesn't look like it, but maybe I'm not sure, because if Anthony was there, I think Anthony might want to just be like, I don't care. Let's try to find some people or something, and let's go out there and try to fight them, one by one. But again, that's 231 people. You might want to surrender, to be honest. So I understand where John's coming from. And I really like John in this episode because he's really seeing things in a realistic standpoint. He's like, okay, we shouldn't risk our lives because we'd probably lose this battle. So I found that really interesting. So anyway, guys, I want to hear your comments about this episode of The Plague. Absolutely loved this episode. And, of course, the premiere as well, the early premiere, I loved as well. So, guys, Season 3 is off to a really awesome start, and I can't wait to see Episode 3, of course, with Anthony. So, really cool stuff, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Undead Freak 78, awesome episode this week. Absolutely loved it. Can't wait to see Episode 3 and the rest of this season. So, man, you're right. Season 3 is, I'd say the best start of the season. So, anyway, can't wait to see the rest. And just, again, write your comments below if you saw the episode. I'm hoping you did. I hope I didn't spoil it for you or anything. But, anyway, guys, I'll catch you guys for my next review of The Plague. But, of course, more videos coming up this week. Peace out, guys.